Welcome back to one more dose of the Marbella way. And today, what are we talking about?
My Danish English, we call it Dinglish, is not even sufficient to express the gratefulness that I feel to be in this amazing studio place. It's, by the way, it's raining outside, so it's a bit like being in Denmark at the moment. But anyway, what we're going to do today is
I was actually waking up this morning and thinking, oh my God, I'm in Copenhagen. What's going on? Like, hey, no, I'm in LA.
I thought we were in Copenhagen when I looked out of the window. No, we're not in Copenhagen. Sometimes you don't even remember where you wake up if you.
Because you travel so much, you're like so confused.
But yeah.
But let's get into it because this is the weekly dose of the Marbella way, and the best way to start that is the Marbella way.
That's right. We can't forget, and this is, we shouldn't forget, episode 3, and cheers to that.
Cheers to that. So, do you have any interesting things to share with me today?
Another thing I'm very fortunate to experience is the opportunity to sit here and talk about all these experiences that we in fact shared. So let's dig into it. So what I think we should talk about today is what similarities do we see and feel between Los Angeles and Marbella. Obviously, Los Angeles is very far away.
And I know I love Los Angeles, you know that. And I love Marbella, so there's so many overlaps between LA and Marbella. And I think people in LA will appreciate Marbella a lot, because if you like to be here, you will definitely like Marbella. And Marbella is such a feel-good place. There's no stress, no traffic. You know, it's just easy to dive into something very good.
So the climate, of course, is quite similar.
But it's still warmer. The climate is warmer in Marbella. The winters are warmer, and also the summers are more, you know, in the evening, it's very hot, but it's pleasant and lovely to sit out, even in the winters. So you actually have a very good, you know, cycle of the good climate all year round, even in the winter times. And I remember also one Christmas that we was suntanning in the garden before. So it's hot. It's nice.
It's very important to have climate as point number one, because in the end, it's the environment, it's the frame, it is the pleasure of waking up every single day knowing that the sun will shine, no matter what mood you're in, no matter what happens in the world. And we should be very grateful to live in a world currently that we're not in conflict and our family is safe, you know, sending love to everybody in the world who has a different situation, right? But that's what Marbella is. If I take that standpoint, yes. It's just a feel-good place, and the climate with 300 to 320 days of sun per year, it's light. It's just a feel-good place.
And I also know for sure that, especially if we talk about friends we know, come to Marbella. It's like, oh my God, I had a horrible month. I need to check out and tap into Marbella. And when you come to Marbella, you could be sure that when you enter this spot, it's like you're in another world. You immediately feel good.
It's a relief. And it's so, I mean, I can't help talking about Denmark. Denmark, actually, it was a Danish guy who invented Lego. A lot of people over here think it was an American guy, but it was actually a Danish guy. So...
You're fact-checking now?
Yeah, Denmark is a little bit like Legoland. It's very small, everything is small, and so...
And people have small minds, I'm sorry.
As well. The ceiling is not very high in most places.
Sky is definitely not delivered. Skies is
maybe in church, but unfortunately, most of the time they're empty in Denmark. But we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, in Denmark, people worry too much, right? So people, because of the weather, it's raining all the time. So people always talk about they're annoyed with the weather. They talk about how annoyed they are with different things. So when you land in Denmark, you become part of that instantly, and especially if you speak Danish and you're part of that culture, and it's part of your DNA in a sense because you grew up in that. But then it's so amazing that all you have to do is take an airplane. In this case, it's just 3.5 hours south. Mm-hmm. When you land, it's gone. It's like it never, that worry or whatever you felt, this like you're not quite, I don't know what it is. It's hard to explain. Something is wrong. It's gone. It's just gone immediately. And it's, I mean, I don't know what price that has, but I don't know, it's
really priceless. I don't even know how to explain it.
So I can totally understand why. I mean, and that's why if we go back to the similarities, maybe we'll talk about differences as well between Los Angeles and Marbella. Of course, that is not the case when we talk about that scenario. It's always interesting to comment on how it is in the north as well, because then we really see contrast. But now we actually should stick to the subject. What are the similarities between Marbella and Los Angeles? So the climate, definitely, right?
Yeah.
Nature as well, mountains, beaches. So.
And what I also like about, if you go to Marbella, people are spontaneous. I think we talked about that before. Spontaneous is so important. And you also find that here in the US. People are very friendly, open-minded, spontaneous. And that energy you will tap into immediately when you go to Marbella.
Yeah.
You can meet friends everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that's not what we're used to if you live in, for example, in Scandinavia. That's totally different.
No. People
so that's definitely a positive thing about Marbella. Yeah. And a similarity about the US and Marbella.
That's right. That's right. People are very open-minded in both places. So you will never need to, you will always be able to meet friends. You'll always be able to be social if you want and meet other nice people out there.
Right. And also if you talk about like the culture and the wellness in it, the Southern California also have like a very positive and healthy vibe.
Yeah.
And you also have that in Marbella. Like juicing, very conscious
gym selfies and, people who just love their health, their yoga, their retreats, their healthy breakfast. It's, and there's a coffee culture with a twist as well, I think that's a similarity too, you're right. So there's definitely a lot about the health thing that you have in Marbella as well. And of course, it's even if you didn't work out in Marbella, you would be more healthy just by being there. Because you get the vitamin C, you have the fresh air, you'll feel great even if you don't go to the gym. So it's a good thing.
That's a totally win-win.
But yeah, it's even better if you do go to the gym or
take
go for a
selfies
walk
with some
sometimes in the
people
mountains.
in the gym as well.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing you would understand when you go to Marbella. There's a lot of Instagram moments there. People, a lot of people take selfies, a lot of people, especially in the gym. I remember when I went to the gym one time, it was the first time I went to that gym, and I was walking into this class, and all the women sit there with a phone, and I'm thinking, did I go to the right class? And I said, hey, and they didn't even respond. Like, what is that? And they were just busy and like filming what they were going into a class. And that's not a similarities because people in the US will be much more welcoming in that sense. But it's because of there's so many different nationalities that you have to understand that it's a melting pot and you don't really know how you should react. But anyway,
that's
that.
Just what comes into my mind is one thing I definitely really appreciate about talking about Marbella is that it's totally based on real experiences. And the world we live in today, of course, it's very online as well. Some people travel more than others, and some people get out there, so they get those real experiences. But that's why I get so excited talking about this city, this place, this lifestyle, because it's just, it's a library of experiences. So let's talk about another thing that is a similarity, the cultural diversity of the places. So 141 or 42 nationalities are registered at the town hall in Marbella. That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot more than in Denmark, for example. Denmark is actually one of the most homogeneous societies in the world. It's being changed these years, but it's seriously, it was Denmark for Danish people up until recently. But and Los Angeles is similar, right?
Yes,
like similar to Marbella.
It's a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people. Which is amazing, fantastic.
But it's just next level because here if you can go to a nice Korean restaurant, we had the Korean barbecue favorite place. The guy who used to have his restaurant in New York, he moved it to the coast, right, in the area around Elvira.
Yes.
And it was amazing. It closed, of course. Unfortunately, he turned into something else. But then we're happy if we have Korean.
Can we
don't have Koreatown.
Can we have that back?
But we don't have Koreatown. It's like
if he's listening, he should open that restaurant.
That's where LA is just another scale. Because when we talk about Korean food, Japanese food, we have there's something called Thai Town. We visited that place in East Hollywood recently. So it's just like whatever we have in terms of cultural diversity in Marbella is kind of another scale.
Right.
It has its own little city or town in this city.
Yeah, that you will not find in Marbella. But what you will find in Marbella is great people, friendly, humble people. And what you also would understand is that if you go to Marbella, you are going back in time. People are living like it was like 30 or 40 years. Why I'm saying that is people are very kind, generous, they are very authentic. So they have a lot of, the Andalusian roots is really, is really there. And a lot is thriving and alive, if you can say that in that way.
Yeah.
Good manners, respect for the older generation is going very well hand in hand.
And I just have to mention one example, a specific place called Alhambra in Granada, which is such a beautiful monument. It's
one of the world's wonders.
7 wonders,
Yes.
yeah. It's the 7th or 8th, but it's one of the wonders. And it has been, the church there has been both a Muslim church and a Christian church. Mm-hmm. So it explains a little bit about the history of the place, that it has had different religious dominance throughout the time. And so,
which is only 2.5, 3 hours away from Marbella.
yeah.
And from that place, you can make your way up if you want to ski.
So I haven't seen Little Russia or Little Arabia in Los Angeles yet. It may exist. I haven't really seen. We have seen, for example, Lebanese food, for example, right? So there is Middle Eastern food, but I haven't seen those neighbors. They may exist, but
they do. Absolutely will. We have to find out that. But
Russians and Arabs have a history of coming to Marbella as well. And it's just interesting. And I want to say something important about that, because in Denmark, for example, we haven't been that good at integrating other cultures. No. To be honest, we've actually been pretty bad at it. So it's interesting to be in Marbella, because you can be with these nationalities or cultures that you would think, oh, we can't actually talk, or there's something wrong, or we're very different or something. But they are there. They're at the school, they're at the cafe, they're at the gym, and we get along anyway, right?
We do. We definitely get along. So is there more similarities if you want to compare Marbella with Southern California? Because we actually call it in Marbella the European version of California.
Yeah. There's the whole, of course, real estate and wealth element, that you have people who are able to afford very pricey properties in both places. So it has this affluent audience, this community of people that are very privileged to be able to live in these amazing properties. That's definitely a similarity as well, right? Then we could talk about the whole entertainment and lifestyle aspect. But in terms of lifestyle, I think there are quite a few similarities, right? It's just that Marbella, the city is much smaller, but in terms of going to nature and doing things, you can do similar things in both places. It's just different how long time it takes. But we could mention our friend Kenneth, who used to live in New York for 30 years, an amazing photographer, very successful. He built an amazing place north of Los Angeles called Paradise Ranch. It's one of the most special, unique places we've ever seen. And we were there before he finished it. So he bought a huge piece of land in the mountains at Sequoia National Park, 3 Rivers. And he's now renting it out on Airbnb and small units, beautiful units with glass. You can't look in, but you can look out, with spas and saunas, yoga, very healthy lifestyle. So he gave up his whole life in New York to go there. So that's what he did the last 5 years. So that's an interesting
we definitely see a tendency of people going towards Marbella, also in the US. I met a lot of people from the US just the last year.
Yeah.
And especially, it's definitely growing.
That's for sure. More and more people are coming to Europe. But
we're just getting a great vibe as well.
But I think that many Americans I think they do like to go to Europe, because there is so much variety. You can, if you're in Central Europe, you can go to any country and experience huge differences in the culture and the food in an hour or two. Just
a lot of things you won't find in LA, you will find in Marbella, and it will go both ways.
Yeah.
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 And also talking about if we have this crush bridge between Europe and LA or Europe and US, you also can mention that we have the Starlight Festival every year, but it have been like had an enormous gained recognition even in the world. A lot of people have been there, like famous people such as Ricky Martin, Sting, Elton John, Enrique Iglesias, which is, by the way, from the area. But every year it has been the glamorous event of the year.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's interesting if we talk about the whole Hollywood aspect, the entertainment aspect. I think Marbella is it's becoming the Hollywood of Europe. We have more and more movies and TV series and productions being created in Andalusia, big ones as well. And we were in one with Robert Davi, who came over from the US. And so that whole scene is growing, the whole movie scene.
Let's hope so.
Entertainment scene. But it's like, I don't know, it's more than 50 years behind, definitely. But
I just want to say, if we just talk about that, there's a lot of things to come to and enjoy in Marbella. You don't only have to go to Marbella to have a holiday. You can go to this Starlight Festival. You can go to the yearly, we had the Feria, which is like the traditional Andalusian festival. There's a lot of different things to come from. We also have the history of the Alhambra. So a lot of things can be surrounded by Marbella in short distance as well.
You can definitely say about the people living there, whether they're Spanish or not, is that in general they like to be outside. And I think per definition you can say if you like to be outside, you more or less always like to meet other people as well, because other people tend to be outside as well. So it is an outdoor culture, and people are very positive in the sense that they like to meet other people, whether it's at a feria or a concert or anywhere in the street, a cafe. People are open to meet. The thing is that we're also in the same boat, in the sense that we're all foreigners in Marbella. So we're not playing on home field. We're in some strange or foreign country, and that way it's easy for us to find common ground. And I guess something similar built the culture here in this city.
So I actually have a question for you. So why do you think it's interesting for people to visit Marbella? Why should people visit Marbella?
I think the most obvious reason is to enjoy life. I mean, if we take people's movie preferences, personally, I prefer feel-good movies. I know you actually prefer
horror.
Not necessarily horror, but you definitely prefer like more drama and pretty,
Not that I want that in my life, but definitely I want
investigation, detectives, and like serious things going on. But I think if you like the feel-good movie genre, I know that you will like Marbella. It's
a funny comparison.
I mean, A Good Year with Russell Crowe was actually created in the south of France. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. And he was a stockbroker in London, came down to the south of France, and his uncle had a winery that he inherited. And he didn't want it at first, because he was like high-flying in London, the financial industry, and so he was all about money. And then he started to remember the small incidences, the moments with his uncle where he was tasting the wine and they were playing chess, and then he built up, he found those emotions he had for this place, and the film developed in a way where he actually ended up taking over the place, and he stayed there, and he obviously found a beautiful woman there as well, a local French woman there as well. So, but amazing story, and that whole landscape, that amazing vibe that you find in the south of France. It's obviously totally different in the south of Spain, because it's Spain, and it is different. It's more than 1,000 kilometers south, but it's similar in the sense that you can drive around in the rolling hills and the landscapes, and you just feel amazing. And then you can stop over at any random place and have an espresso or whatever you want, and you don't have to plan that much to feel great. You just have to walk out of the door, and it's going to be amazing. So, that's it. Yeah, it's so that you ask, why would I
recommend people to go
recommend
to
it.
Marbella. If you don't know Marbella, why should you go there instead of, going to Dubai or you're going to Miami?
But
So a lot of people know these places.
So there are so many elements of
It's always a risk to take it,
Let's say-
to go there first time.
Let's say, especially if you like different things, it's called that you have an eclectic. You may like to go out one night to a nice place, but you also may like to see to have some kind of historical experience, or go to Alhambra or see the white villages in Andalusia where you feel that.
And that's
you
the
live.
thing.
You-
Villages. You have to look that up. White villages, because it's a thing in Marbella. It's a thing in the whole Spain. White villages.
There are at least 100, at least.
And it's actually very authentic and very charming.
And you
white
can,
villages.
They look exactly as they looked
That is
more than 50 years
really a
ago,
thing.
100 years ago. And life is just the same there as it always was. And
you will even find a shepherd going in the street with the sheep and all this.
Exactly, and that's where we, and that's of course.
You will not find that in LA.
If we go back to the similarities and differences when we compare Marbella and Los Angeles, one big difference is that it's a lot more traditional still in Spain, and you will still be able to see, just a little bit out of town sheep or sheep in the streets,
right?
For example.
You definitely will.
And I remember where we used to spend a lot of time in Benaviz, in the Benaviz Pueblo area, where we had the deer coming up to our house every now and then during the day, and we were able to, observe. People were observing them with binoculars and feeding them a little bit, not too much. It's not too, it's like,
Thank you for
I
detail.
couldn't help throwing some
very
salad.
Into detail. You're very into
I didn't.
details.
I know. You shouldn't feed them too much. But I was surprised when, and it was just. I felt that was like a movie scene when we were. I was just going for a walk with our two sons, and we just going for a walk, and then suddenly there are 3 wild boars in the street, and they're pretty big. Just like 10 meters away, and our daughter, she was there. She ran over like it was a cat or a dog and wanted to pet them. They're pretty dangerous.
A wild boar.
If you look up wild boars, you will be advised to stay away from them, because if they feel unsafe or they're pretty dangerous.
They're not cats. Okay?
But
wild boars aren't cats.
But we saw them several times, and they came down to find some food in the village, and nobody noticed. It was just like, oh, that's normal. There's just wild boars in the street.
But if we don't talk about wild boars, I just want to think. No, I didn't want to think, because I think all the time. But what I want to say is, a feel-good day in Marbella.
Yeah.
How would it start?
That's a
because
good
I have my take on it. But
okay, I can say 2 things that will be a 100% guarantee for many things. But let's just say 2. One is, that's my personal opinion. One is to hike in the mountains.
I know.
Go alone, go with friends,
But
family.
before the hiking, let's just tap into what the best breakfast options is in Marbella, because the
We
cannot miss that.
We can't talk about breakfast in Marbella without mentioning the Sea Grill at Puente Romano
This is
Hotel.
fabulous. And it's, by the way,
It's the
next
best-
to Novo Hotel.
it's
They're
the
connected,
best-
and have connected the joint breakfast.
And it's the
you
best-
get the best breakfast on the coast.
Yeah.
It's around, I think they raised the prices recently, like $40 or $50, and it's including free flow of Perrier Chile champagne. Like, you stay there forever.
And again, back to the freedom of choice. People can choose the best vegetable juices, and I mean the best,
right.
and ginger shots and everything, and you can
like
drink as much as you want.
Welcome to the jungle.
But you can also have champagne if you want. You can also have both.
Despite guilty choices. You have the champagne, you choose both. And you have ginger shots, you have acai bowls, you have some of the selections from Novo Hotel. You have also the gluten-free option from Silencioso, which is super awesome, by the way. They make the homemade granola, homemade Nutella, which is not called Nutella, but homemade, you know what I mean. They have the honey from the honeycomb. They have salmon. They have, a la carte breakfast as well, which is including in the price.
They have all the small details, the keto bread,
Yes.
the fruits that you may not
it's called
buy every day
keto
at the
in the
supermarket,
US, keto.
So it's It's a place where you definitely would probably appreciate hanging out for a couple of hours.
And it's such
on
an
a Saturday
elegant environment, and it's like laid back as well. So it just next to the beach, you sit and watch the waves out there. You have live music sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends what day you're going, but
Yeah.
that's the place to go.
And then some of the good tennis players might play just like 100 meters away on the tennis court. So you can go and play yourself or watch that, or you can go on that.
And you have the swimming pool outside, so the kids can just, splash in the pool afterwards as well.
Yeah, so that's a good start of the day.
Very
right?
good start. I
But
just want to
maybe
highlight
you
that because
should-
it's very important. I think it's a must go place in Marbella if you're there. The Puente Romano Hotel, Nobu, joined to the Puente Romano Hotel, and the breakfast at Sea Grill. Yeah.
I think part of the secret may be that they obviously have a lot of guests at the hotel.
And now I have to interrupt because they have Cipriani as well. Cipriani just opened there as well.
Yeah.
Like, how many good things can you have in one place? Like, all of them. They have Koya as well.
I think they will one day, if they didn't already
people.
get a gold medal in having good places at one place, they should have it right now.
Yeah. And they used to have a 3-star Michelin there.
They have seriously good places, good things in one place, collected. So that we must give them that, let's say, respect.
We have to give the credit.
Management
The Puente
credit
Romano Hotel.
that they
in
did
Marbella.
that. Whereas back to the sister hotel down the road, 1 kilometer away, Marbella Club Hotel, it is what it always was.
Yes.
It is exactly when Sean
Fantastic.
Connery was having his martini shaken, not stirred in the bar with Roger Moore, by the way. There's several
Audrey
pictures
Hepburn,
with the two of them.
breakfast at Tiffany's, but you can have Audrey Hepburn, but breakfast at the Marbella Club Hotel.
So
Because she
that
was
didn't change a
having
lot,
of
right?
parties, yeah.
That did not change a lot.
No, it didn't change at all.
No.
But of course, the interior changed, but just recently.
Yeah,
But you will go there and you will be a part of iconic history.
that's right.
Yeah.
So similarities and differences.
No.
LA, Marbella. What else can we say about that? I think there's one point that I think is very fundamental. That's the proximity in Marbella. That whatever you want to do, you can do now. You don't have we have to
Right.
plan.
That's right.
We may make it through the traffic and so on. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'm trying to find a way in this city not to be annoyed with traffic, just mainly staying in a certain area on the west side. That makes life much easier. But so I'm not that annoyed personally with traffic here because I made a decision on that. but I'm just saying, if you want to go anywhere in Marbella, you can do it now. And you can just call your friends 15 minutes. Let's see you there.
Right.
See you at this gas station. Then we just pick up some water, whatever, and then we go.
Right. Another
So-
thing I want to actually highlight is that if you're into interior design, which I am, I love real estate, I love houses. You know, if you are in a home, it's like reflects your soul in a way. So I love to have people in my home because then they also see a part of me, who I am. And there's so many beautiful real estates in Marbella, beautiful old houses, beautiful old bungalows, fireplaces. So it's just something you tap into and you really enjoy being there. And what I want to say about that is in Marbella, you have like a niche for crafting and tailoring things. So you can, and because it's Marbella and it's an old society, you have still like the old upholstery. I think you said upholstery, that you can go with, I want this fabric, and you take your old chairs and you take your headboards and you can create it exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And we did that many times with our things.
Yeah.
So,
Old handcraft.
and with totally affordable. And you have
Not always the buy and throw out culture.
that is a masterpiece that you can just go, you can design what you want, and you will get it in like old man who will do your headboards and they will do your chairs and they will,
Yeah.
I just want to highlight that because I
And
think it's
another
very
thing that I actually would like
And
to
you'll not
highlight
get ripped off. It
when
will
you
be
talk
like
about
humble
this
prices.
handcraft is something as specific as the dresses for girls. You are the one who obviously has the main responsibility for that department. But it is a pleasure to see how many beautiful dresses, traditional, like
Yes.
just very beautiful dresses for girls that our daughter could get there
Oh, wow.
that you could not have in Denmark.
Yes.
I think they have maybe I don't even know if they have a dress left in Denmark because everybody has to look the same, right? So you may have, if I think trousers for everybody. That's kind of the philosophy, right? But what I like about Spain is exactly that they kept the traditional society, and they will not let it go. And I can say that for sure. Because there is a phenomenon in this world, and everybody should know. It's called the world is becoming more and more global, right? And there's good things about that, because we can visit the world, we can travel, we can have friends worldwide, and there's many good things about it. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is to actually represent and stick to where you come from as well, to keep those habits, those customs is so charming, and that is what makes Spain the most visited country in the world, next to France. There's no country in the world getting more tourists. It's not a coincidence.
I just want to tap into that, what you said about clothing.
They are what they always were.
I want to take you back to the clothing thing, because there's a lot of tailors in Marbella. And you can replicate a dress you loved, or you have a picture of it, and they will design it for you. That's very unique, because a lot of places, it's very difficult to find a tailor, because tailor is not a thing anymore. Before, if we just go 60 years back, you have a lot of tailors. We don't have it anymore, because now we just buy everything from China or wherever we buy it. But we still have tailoring business in Marbella, which is unique.
Yeah.
And that's also a thing to highlight. Even if you're just there for 2 weeks, you can have a tailor-made dress or suit.
They obviously have Sarah, and the owner is actually Spanish.
Yeah, which is, every female would know that.
Yeah, so they have that, right? But they have maintained the traditional approach as well. And all respect for that. We haven't been as good as that as doing that in Denmark. We have it in some areas, right? So we didn't totally lose Hans Christian Andersen in Denmark, but we've been more open to globalizing everything, because everything new is obviously always better. There's some kind of logic that everything, as long as it's new, it's definitely better. That's for sure.
But we can talk about Marbella for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Is there anything more we should say today?
There's obviously a lot of things to say. I actually found, I wanted to find 10 fun similarities between the two places. One of the things I found is,
like a quiz you have?
So this, if you can talk about this,
sunglasses
as a stable accessory.
Yes. Is funny.
Is that
yes.
a thing?
Because I will wear sunglasses 24/7. I will go even to bed with my sunglasses. I was oh, what's that? Okay, I'll even tap in my head sometimes if people think I'm crazy, because I'm like, I forgot my sunglasses. They're still there.
So that is in both places.
That's in both places.
It's here as well, right?
I don't know. Is that
I think it is.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, because people drive convertibles here as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Marbella, it's just different. It's like they'll be glued to your face, like glued to your hair or face. That's a thing. That's a Marbella thing.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I don't know. You can correct me.
And then there is the health and wellness that we talked about a little bit before, the health and wellness obsession.
Yes.
The avocado toast and the yoga retreats and the healthy juices. That's another thing.
We actually have to dive into that next time. I want to talk about the yoga, health and wellness, rehab. There's a lot of overlaps, beautiful things to talk about. People are traveling around the world, from around the world to Marbella to have yoga, wellness, sound healing in the mountains.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a part of the wellness, avocado toast.
Then there's another thing, the beach body culture, because both places have this all year positive, sunny climate. So it's also a thing to be in good shape, right? In both places.
Very important.
I'm not that much into the fitness scene here as well, but I did visit a very nice place down the street.
Then you can say you have been there. Have you been to the gym today? Yes.
It's a personal training concept.
Yes.
You can get as much personal training as you want.
That's awesome.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I might try that. Then we have the palm trees and the convertibles. You have that in both places too,
similarity.
Right? Yeah.
That's a good similarity.
Yeah.
We definitely have a lot of convertibles and a lot of flashy cars.
Why do you think people like palm trees and convertibles? What is it that...
I don't know,
there must be a similarity between the people in LA and Marbella, since they like those two things.
I just think it's like such a...
What's nice about those two things?
I cannot argue.
I will say something about the palm trees over here. When you look at them in, for example,
beautiful.
Santa Monica and Beverly Hills, they're very tall. and thin. It's pretty. They're pretty significant.
Oh wow.
We don't have those in Marbella.
That's
They look
thing.
different. They look different.
If you go to, I remember you once asked me, what is it with that thing? People are taking pictures in the streets. Like, hey, this is the California, it's LA. I'm like, what? You've been living in a cave or something.
We have another thing. We have the
Rodeo Drive. You take pictures, you know.
We have another thing. We have the coffee culture, but we talked about that already. So then we have the dog-friendly culture to the extreme,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So can you give some examples from Marbella of a
I
dog-friendly
totally
culture?
can give an examples. There is a thing in Marbella about pets.
The dog hotel, right?
Oh, you have the dog hotel. We have the tiny dog hotel with a 5-star doggy hotel, and it's really a 5-star. They have even like
How do the dogs live in there?
spiritual doggy thing. It's like, wow. I was there before and I got a tour. And our dog had the best time of our life there. It was like retreat, they have like a session. They even made a home, like the
We
own
thought sofas
homemade
were only for
food.
human beings, but then we found out sofas and beds are for dogs.
And they're not living in cages, they're living like small beds.
Yeah.
Like wooden carved beds.
Yeah.
Each individual place.
Pretty
It's a place
impressive.
you want to bring your dog and like you don't feel guilty when you bring your dog to a place like this.
Palm trees, convertibles, dogs.
And you have strollers.
Yoga
Old
retreats.
ladies with strollers with the dogs.
Then we have the party scene stereotypes. Could you mention an example from on that? Do you know any?
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Can you?
It's actually not that easy to put words on, to be honest.
So you hope
Party
it like you hope I could tap
party
into that.
stereotype.
What is the okay party stereotype? Okay, I don't like to talk about stereotypes.
Actually, I can.
Okay,
Okay, I'll give you one stereotype from Marbella. It's the Spanish-looking men style with you have these
Spanish looking.
special shoes. What do you call these shoes? You know, where you have obviously bare feet in the shoes.
Right. Yes.
What are they called?
You always give me.
Mocassina in Danish. I don't know what they're called in
No,
in English.
Estadillas. Estadillas.
Okay, so I don't know what the English word is for that, but
It's like a thing you I don't know how to say.
but those, let's say, pretty
Like Ibiza
nice shoes,
stuff. Yeah.
but with
Estadillas.
bare feet in.
Yes.
And then shorts,
Yeah.
swimming shorts, in case you want to jump in the pool.
Right.
Swimming shorts. And then a nice shirt.
Right.
A nice shirt.
Very
Could be a shirt that you even were wearing at an office meeting in Madrid or anywhere. So that kind of shirt. So like if you sit at a lunch,
Totally
you have the
win-win.
shirt.
I love it.
You have the shirt.
Yes.
Not a t-shirt, but a nice shirt. And then if you jump in the pool, you have
That
the
is-
shorts.
But it's-
And
come
then
on,
you
it's
like, then you can go slippers,
mix up the-
slippers, or the other
How do you
kind of
mix
shoes,
that
and
thing?
they go, they
It's like,
scale
I
up.
want to look fashion. I have my
scale up.
swimming
They don't
trunks
scale
on,
down.
and
They don't scale
I
down.
want to look fabulous when I have my dinner, so you cannot see that you're wearing
and,
shorts.
and they
You
don't,
see
they
the
don't
shirt.
scale down because they
Right.
go for the gin and tonic, the martini, and the champagne, and
Wow.
they have
That's a good
good friends that they celebrate their weekends with, and they don't scale down in a pair of slippers. With all respect for that, it's great for sports, right?
It's great for sports.
But for a restaurant, it looks better with the shoes they wear.
Right.
I have to give them.
You're
that.
right. That's my bad
You know,
thing.
and they have better style in that beach, let's say, segment than we don't even have that culture in Denmark, right? It's like you don't even talk about.
So
what you wear.
let that be the last thing for today, because this is totally the Marbella way.
Okay.
Don't forget your swim trunks,
We'll
your
push the,
shorts,
let's
not
push
your
the-
shorts,
the
but your
pause-
shirts,
the pause
and
button.
bring a tuxedo, and then
We'll
you
push-
look fabulous. Nobody
we're
will
gonna
see
push
you
the
wearing
pause
swim
button now.
trunks. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers.